The Middle East is once again at the edge of a knife, and this time, the stakes couldn't be higher. Something unusual is happening across the Middle East, and it's drawing attention from around the world. Recent developments between two long-standing rival countries, Israel and Iran, have entered a new phase. What once simmered behind closed doors is now playing out in public, online, and in the media. What makes this moment different is how quickly outside nations are reacting, and how many questions remain unanswered. Tensions have been rising for weeks, sparked by a series of events that are still being pieced together. Reports suggest that a major operation was launched by Israel, targeting specific infrastructure in Iran. Soon after, both countries made bold public statements, and digital footage began surfacing showing damaged buildings, road closures, and disrupted services. Iran strongly condemned what it called a violation of its rights, while Israel claimed it was responding to a growing concern. The international community quickly took notice. Then, something unexpected happened. Russia stepped in with its own announcement. A representative close to President Vladimir Putin publicly criticized the operation and expressed concern over the direction things were headed. Russian officials said they are deeply worried about what might come next and called for a new approach. In a surprising twist, the Kremlin offered to host discussions and even suggested a technical solution involving the handling of energy materials. Specifically, they proposed converting sensitive materials into safe fuel through a third-party process that would take place under verified, peaceful conditions. It's a complicated offer, but one that could potentially calm the situation, if accepted. Around the same time, Iran made its own move. In a message passed through trusted third parties in the Gulf, Iranian officials expressed willingness to reopen conversations with the United States. This was a major shift, especially considering the ongoing friction between the two countries. Iran said it would consider resuming discussions, but only if Israel paused further operations. The United States responded with caution. White House officials stated they were reviewing the proposal, while also emphasizing the need for honesty, oversight, and responsibility. Meanwhile, leaders from across Europe and the United Nations released statements urging everyone involved to consider peaceful steps forward. French, German, and Turkish officials expressed deep concern about the pace of recent developments and the growing instability in parts of the region. And yet, on the ground, things feel anything but calm. In cities like Tel Aviv and Tehran, residents are reporting widespread service interruptions. Public transportation has slowed, schools have closed in some districts, grocery stores are experiencing shortages, and phone networks are under stress. People are anxious, preparing for the unknown. In nearby countries, movement across borders has become more difficult. Reports from Lebanon, Iraq, Jordan, and Turkey indicate that checkpoints are expanding and delays at airports are growing. Air carriers are rerouting flights, and tourists are being advised to avoid travel to certain areas altogether. Even outside the Middle East, ripple effects are being felt. Airline stocks are fluctuating, supply chains are facing challenges. Tech companies with operations in the region are issuing cautious updates, and the financial sector is watching every headline closely, trying to determine whether this situation will remain contained or spread into something broader. Adding to the complexity are unconfirmed reports of conversations taking place in private. Some news agencies claim that high-level figures from Pakistan and Iran have met behind closed doors, though no details have been released. Others say Gulf states are working quietly to bring everyone to the table. Still, trust is limited. Israel has long accused Iran of concealing certain activities. Iran, in turn, claims that Israel is provoking unnecessary tension. The back and forth continues, not just through official press releases, but through online leaks, satellite imagery, and anonymous interviews that only add to the confusion. And all the while, ordinary people are left in a state of uncertainty. In neighborhoods across the region, people are making backup plans, checking their supplies, and preparing for scenarios they hoped they'd never face. Conversations on social media range from fear to frustration to disbelief. This is where things stand. On one hand, Israel believes it acted with purpose and continues to monitor the situation carefully. On the other, Iran says it is open to dialogue, but only if certain actions cease immediately. And then there's Russia, offering to facilitate a technical solution and acting as a go-between. So what happens next? If both Iran and Israel agree to pause activities, even temporarily, it could open the door to new talks. These discussions could involve a third-party location, perhaps Switzerland, Qatar, or Austria, with support from neutral observers. That could allow both sides to save face, while shifting the focus toward progress. If that doesn't happen, the situation could remain tense for the foreseeable future, and the global community will likely continue to experience the side effects, from slower trade to uncertain markets to travel disruptions. Some experts believe that the key to resolution may lie in a simple agreement on transparency. Both sides would allow international observers to review relevant data, visit affected sites, and confirm that no further action is being prepared. While not perfect, that kind of arrangement could provide enough breathing room to restart meaningful conversations. What makes this moment unique is how many parties are involved, directly or indirectly. The United States is watching closely, along with Russia, China, and several countries across Europe and the Gulf. Each nation has its own interests, its own alliances, and its own concerns. Coordinating any agreement would be incredibly complex, but not impossible. The international community has managed difficult situations before. Peace processes have succeeded in regions where few thought progress was possible. But it always takes leadership, trust, and time. Time, unfortunately, may be running short. In a hyper-connected world, miscommunication can move faster than truth. A single misinterpreted message, a wrongly attributed photo, or a misunderstood statement could lead to decisions that are hard to walk back. That's why governments are now focusing not just on statements, but on private communication lines and real-time monitoring. There is also a growing call from civil organizations around the globe, nonprofits, advocacy groups, and independent watchdogs, urging all nations involved to prioritize the safety and well-being of citizens. Their messages are simple. No more delays, no more uncertainty. Start talking and stop reacting. As we speak, major outlets are covering the developments around the clock. News anchors are analyzing satellite images. Analysts are pointing out historical parallels. Commentators are speculating on motives. And online platforms are flooded with opinion, fear, and theories. But here's the truth. No one really knows what happens next. That's why this moment is so important. Decisions made now could affect millions of lives for years to come. What leaders say, and more importantly, what they choose to do, will shape what we remember about 2025. So if there's one thing to take from all of this, it's that global cooperation is still possible. Despite the noise, despite the tension, and despite the deep disagreements, dialogue can still happen. If Iran and the United States do resume talks, even unofficially, it could signal the beginning of a shift. If Russia's proposed fuel handling plan gains traction, it could add another layer of trust. If Israel agrees to halt certain actions temporarily, it could calm nerves both at home and abroad. But those are all ifs. For now, the world watches, airports stay busy, news tickers stay full, and citizens across countries are left wondering whether calm will return soon, or whether they'll need to adapt to a new normal. We'll continue to monitor the story, sort fact from fiction, and deliver it in plain language. Because when the world is this uncertain, clear information is the most valuable thing of all. Stay safe, stay informed, and stay hopeful.